Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rounding the Bases podcast. I'm Coach Tom Coons along with Coach Chad Porter. We are with HiddenAccountRecruiting.com, and a lot of changes going on in softball and baseball. Chad, I've talked to a couple of Division One coaches. They're all excited. Softball, the scholarship amounts going up from 12 to 25. Baseball's going up from what was it, 11.7
11.7, yeah.
to 34, and they're excited about that. That gives you an opportunity to get the best of the best on your teams now. In talking to our groups out there and in talking to these coaches, what it may do though, roster sizes in baseball are going to go from 40 to 34. Softball is going to go down on roster size. So some of these people that are in this program right now are not going to be there, which in turn flips the coin to, are these colleges now spending as much time looking at the high school level, unless you're an elite athlete there, or are they going to spend their time looking, the Division Ones anyway, looking at the JUCOs, the transfer portal, and some things like that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the strategy, and I think it's already shifted that way anyway. And I think now with the smaller roster size and the increased scholarships, the competition's it's going to be hard. It's going to
Right.
be hard to land a roster spot, a 34-man roster spot. So, and there's obviously going to be be a lot of guys vying for a scholarship because think of these roster sizes already. So this is going to impact the D2, the NAI, the D3, the JUCO level. It's going to impact everything.
Definitely.
And
Definitely.
it's gonna have kind of a trickle down effect at this point because if you can give 34 kids, right? If I'm understanding this correctly, 34 guys on your team, everybody gets a full boat. Is that right?
That's the way I'm reading it. You got
That's the way
34
I'm
out.
reading it. So
No.
the competition, right? It isn't. You're not in a situation now where I'm going to give you 30%, or I'm going to give you this, or I'm going to give you that. Once
Right.
again, that's if it's some of the Division Ones, um, non-power fives and all that, they may not, some of these schools may not give their programs all 34 full rides either.
And that's the other point I was going to make. Depending on where you are, what your league is, what that league circumstance are or is, you may not be going for a team that's giving 34 scholarships. They can give up to, and softball can give up to
Up
the
to.
25, but the school does not have to, at this point in time, the way I'm reading this, give it just because the NCAA has approved it.
And that's just like it was with 11.7. You may have, non-power fives at 7, 8, 9 scholarships, even smaller than that. You see, it's not uncommon, even in Division II with 9 scholarships. It's not uncommon for some of these schools to have 2 scholarships.
Right. But,
To
but
yeah,
where it's going to change now is with that 11.7 scholarships, I could give a half scholarship to this guy, a quarter scholarship to this guy, and so on to get my roster size up to that 40 or whatever, COVID years, it was higher than that, I believe, but up to the 40. Now, with that 34 number and the 25 number,
one for one.
it's
I mean, it's
one for one, or, unless you're less than the 25, you can split it up. But let's face it, you can't go above the roster limit size.
yeah,
So, you're tied there a little bit.
yeah. So I think this is gonna. I think it's gonna benefit. You know, through the trickle down effect. I think it's gonna benefit some of the. I don't want to call them lower levels of college baseball, but let's just say the non-power five, the not, you know what I mean, as we go down. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity, but it's also going to create more competition at the same time.
Absolutely. And again, you made a good point. We are not knocking lower levels because, I mean, let's just take baseball because that's what I'm thinking about right now. How many Division III transfer kids were in the college regionals and World Series on a Division I team this
Yep.
year?
Yep.
You know, it doesn't matter what division you play. If you're good enough, they'll find you to play at the next level out there. Uh, Softball, same thing. There were transfers in softball that were at the Division II and III level in the NCAA regionals,
Yeah.
playing on Division I teams. So you still have that opportunity for that portal. The thing that it's going to create, I think, is the day of it being too early. A family saying, hey, well, my son's only in ninth grade. It's early. It's not, because now you've got to start getting the train going here, where companies like ours will start to create that for you, because you've got to have the billing out there and so on. I talked to 3 Division I baseball coaches this past week, asking them, they were going out recruiting, and every one of them was going to a JUCO tournament. Not one that I was talking to was going high school,
Yeah.
or seeing a travel game or whatever. And I think that in itself, I don't think, I mean, yeah, if you're in 6th grade, it might be a little young, believe me. I'm not trying to get you to start a recruiting process then. But if you're an 8th grader going into ninth, it's not that early. Uh,
No.
there's kids out there that I've talked to that were pitchers, 8th grade going into ninth. The kid's on his varsity team as a ninth grader, and he's already, working with strength, working with this, working with that. I mean, here's a ninth grader who's throwing upper 80s off the mound already. So there's competition out there. Same with softball. There's players out there that are just physically getting ready at an early age. And I'm not saying go out, do it safely. Don't go out and just, slam weights and do this and do that. If you want to know, we have a strength coach that we can talk to and set you up a plan as well for the level that you're at. You don't want to mess up your growth plates, obviously, but there's things you can do to get you stronger. How fast can you get from home to first? How quickly, can you swing that bat? And sometimes that's not lifting tons of weight, but what we're trying to do with our company is to get you in the best position to go where you want to go. And with the NCAA rules here and us here, we're trying to meet here. And we just don't want to leave you down here as the NCAA rules are here now.
Yeah. Well put. And when you're doing this process, don't get burned out with the process too, right?
Absolutely.
You're going to be chasing an opportunity to play college baseball. Don't burn yourself out. Keep it in perspective here. Once again, we see that a lot. There's a place for you. I'm a believer. There's a place for everybody to play, or most guys to play, depending on the level. But don't burn yourself out with this either, right? Still play. Hey, I'm still a play other sports type of guy.
Yes.
You know, play football, play basketball, that type of stuff. Those things, there's a lot of stuff in those sports that transition and you're competing. So do all that stuff. Don't burn yourself out. At the same time, you've got to have a plan. We can help you provide that plan for you. We can help you calculate that plan. We can help you, look at your different options, and we can help you set yourself up for that success down the road. And
Right.
for some people, that's going to look completely different. A 5'7", 125-pound freshman that has good baseball skill and a lack of strength, right? Just isn't quite there yet and isn't quite ready for the showcases and that type of stuff. I see good ball players all the time. I see kids that, and so does Coach Coons. We see guys that can play the game that are weak. We see guys that are really strong, have good skill, but can't play the game. We see guys that can play the game, but don't have the metrics. This isn't an exact science. There's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of projection. There's a lot of um, there's a lot of hard work on your part. It's not an exact science, and that's where we can come in to help you. But you've got to make a plan. You got to have a plan.
Well,
If
yeah, two things. A, you got to want to do it. It's not mom or dad or because somebody in your family played and this and that, but you've got to want to do it. Number two is the most important. It's got to be fun for you. If it's a job to do it, then you got to start looking and saying, "Hey, am I doing the right thing here?" You can have a good future and not play sports. Now,
yeah,
we're in a sports recruiting company, and here I am saying this, but still, your overall success is physical, mental, and what it gets where it gets you to.
yeah,
And guess what? Probably if you're successful enough to make a college team, which you earn a spot, you're not given a spot. I don't care if a coach recruits you or not, you still have to earn that spot because they're always looking to recruit somebody better for those spots. So you have to earn that spot. And if you're fortunate enough, this may be the last 4 years that you play.
yeah,
So what is it going to get you after the fact? You know, very for I'll admit I was very fortunate. My son went on to play at the next level after college. Uh, had was good. He enjoyed it. He did it for him. Never pushed him. Never did. Because that's the worst thing you can do. They're in the outfield. They're looking over in the stands. No, have fun. Play the game. You know, and softball. You see that same thing. Yeah, softball is probably one of the most frustrating sports I think that I've ever. And I played semi-pro softball when I got done with my baseball. And guess what? It's shorter, it's quicker, and there's a lot less hits most of the time. So there's a little bit of luck and everything else, but you got to love to play. And I did. I enjoyed the game. It was fun. And I think that's your goal. We're here to help you with that. We've been on here, send us your videos. There is no commitment to send us your video. We'll tell you where we think you are. I
yeah,
probably told 3 people in the last week, one softballer and 2 baseballers, where I thought they fit in. And there was one Division 1 that I thought lower end, and a couple, and the other ones were Division 2s.
yeah,
But that's where they are now. That doesn't mean, will they work with us? I don't know, but I'm going to be honest with them. You know, like granted, there's companies out there that'll tell you, oh yeah, get ready, you're going to get a scholarship. Well, and when you don't, then whose fault is that? That's the way you got to look at it. And I'm speaking from a parent as well as an advisor here. You're going through it now. You got 2 daughters that are pretty good athletes. You're going to have that scenario. Do they love what they play? If they're doing it for that, it's a great reason.
yeah. My oldest had a recruiting call the other night out of nowhere, and I listened, and I was actually pretty impressed with the questions she asked, but she wants to do it. She wants to play. She loves the game, right? And
Correct.
and that's the thing. I think a lot of kids think they do. Work scares them. Competition scares them. Young kids, if you're the best kid on your team, and sometimes in high school, sometimes let's face it, high school coaches are forced to play a kid sometimes, because they don't have anybody else. And
Yep.
I mean that in a good way. Maybe there's no accountability because, if the kid does this or does this, you're one of the better players on the team, and that's unfortunate, but I mean it's the truth. So kids get this image of what college baseball is going to be like. And a lot of times kids show up on campuses and it's completely different, right? And you're going to hear a lot of things from coaches when you get recruited, and it's going to sound great, and you're going to show up day one and you're going to be like, wow,
Change.
there's 25 kids in my recruiting, or there's this or whatever, and it's a little bit different. I'm not saying the coach is lying, but you got to realize the message you're getting from that college coach is a message he's sending tons of other players, depending on their
Right.
needs. He may be talking to 50 kids. It just depends, right? And once again, it's honesty, but you're just one person. You're just one guy, right? You're just one person. The game owes you nothing, right? The game owes you nothing. And you're looking for an opportunity, and a lot of times that's what you're looking for, an opportunity to stay in the game, to live your dream out, and to play college baseball. We step in because we can help you find the right fit. I have a player that I'm working with. He is a very, very good baseball player. His metrics aren't great. His metrics aren't great, but I will put him in. He's a baller, right? But his metrics aren't great.
Right.
So am I telling him to go to showcases? No. Now, showcases that have games and that type of thing, that's a little bit different, but he's a kid that eyes have to get on. Coaches have to see how he competes. Coaches have to see he makes the routine play. And my message to them is, to other coaches is, this kid's going to help you win games over the next 4 years.
Right.
A lot of games, right? He's going to make the routine play every time. He's going to move runners. He's going to, I project him to hit over 300. He's going to steal some bases. Is he going to run a 6.75 60? And is he going to throw 90 from the outfield or the infield? Right? Is he going to have an exit velo and 93? No to all the above. Right? But can he play the game and play the game at a high level? Because he can play a high level of catch. He makes solid, consistent contact and has a great approach. And, he knows the game. He can run the base. All that. Absolutely.
Right.
Right? But he's not a metrics guy. Okay? That's how we can help kids. We can identify what type of player you are. So what does he need to do? He needs to continue on the physical development, right?
Right.
And use his baseball IQ to his advantage, right? So when we talk to coaches about him, he's going to help you win games. Every coach is going to perk up when you hear win games. Now, they've got a scene. He's a kid that you have to see. You have to see. Let's face it. There's coaches that go to showcases, and I was guilty of it too. You see a kid run a 6.75. You see a kid throw it. You see a kid with some nice bat speed and the balance to go with it, and
Right.
he's spinning balls. You may throw some coin at that kid and try to get him
That's right.
and
That's right.
take a chance, right? Now, sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. This kid, you know, you see him in a showcase, you're not odd. You see him in a game about the fourth or fifth inning, you're like, who's this kid that's just made two backhands and a glove hand side play in the infield and, moved a runner, is 2 for 3 with the stolen base, and you're like, this kid has an idea what he's doing,
Right.
right? So it's not an exact science. This is where we can help you.
Yeah, and
This is where we can help you.
I think the other thing too. It just hit me with something you said. You know about working out in practice. you guys, some of you out there are young and you don't remember, but us older guys, the late great Bobby Knight was a basketball coach at Indiana University. Got a lot of bad press for things he did, whatever, but he won. He just won. Last team to go undefeated in the NCAAs and win the national championship. I remember going out there and working for him one time, and he had all these players in the NBA. Steve Alford, Benson, Isaiah Thomas, all of them. And they showed up playing pickup games back at Indiana University. And I was talking to a couple of them one time, and I said, "What made you guys so successful?" He said, "We practiced harder than anybody. We practiced harder. We prepared harder." And I said, "Why was that?" He said, "Coach Knight wanted us to have the games be easy and have fun. So if practice was going to be the hardest thing, if the workouts were going to be the hardest thing, the games and the other stuff were going to be the rewards." And I think that's what we're saying here. With the NCAA bringing these scholarships or the roster amounts down, and this, are you preparing hard enough? Are you using all the avenues? This is why we're in this business, like you said. You know, we don't want to charge you an arm and a leg, but we'll give you the same results and the same info to the people that are. And I think that's a huge thing. We'll tell you how to prepare. We'll tell you what you need to do to get ready. And if you can take that and handle the truth with that and evaluate our honest opinion. I mean, I had a baseball player the other day. He goes, "What do you think of my swing?" I said, "I think you got a loop in the back of it. You're going to be very good. Everything that's out over the plate, but anything inside, you'll never hit it." And we hung up. He called me back 2 days later and he goes, "You know what? You're absolutely correct." And he says, "What can you do to help me?" And I said, "There we go. We're gonna be honest. Can we fix it? Absolutely can fix it. But that's what we're here for people. We're here to help them. And like I say, I think if you can send us your video, we'll send it back or call you or do whatever with our honest opinion. And if you want to work with us, we'd be more than happy to have you. We're in the time right now when it's recruiting season. Fall ball is going to start up. Coaches are able to get out there a little bit. You want to be ready, and that's what we're here for.
Send us those videos, free consultation. Send it. Let's talk. Let's see how we can help you. Hopefully, we'll see some of you guys out this fall. And it's you got to get after it. Let us help you.
Aheadindaccountrecruiting.com. You'll see the questionnaire on there. Send it to us. We'll give you our opinion. Till next week, we hope you all hit the gym